Yes. Yes. Good to be back.
And we be here. Yes.
Lucas, dude, good to see you. I haven't been on a Recharged in a while. It's good to be here, bud.
I know. It's been you've left me with Coastal, which is fine. Coastal's been great, but I like being around Maki.
Good stuff, bud. Thank you, man. It's good to be here. Still got the garb on, still got the shirt on. Had to throw some people out earlier, count some people down. Good times, though. Oh, Mitchell Taylor.
Yeah. Go ahead and read that one out loud.
His lordship.
Yeah, he's been a presence in the Recharge and Reignited chat, to say the least.
Subtleties or something that Bostonians. Hey, at least he spelt that right. I mean, that's not awful in his travels. He was just in New England not long ago. No, trust me, we understand. I know it was inadvertent. You helping. The Lemonious one, should I say.
Did you just call him the Lemonious one?
The Lemonious one, yes. The Lemonious one. You hindered Midnight. You distracted Midnight more than anything. You came out and imposed yourself, and we all saw the outcome, and I also saw that gigantic high five that you gave Manny Lemons too. So all your other comments, that high five, just put him down. Crush the crown.
All right. How we doing, everybody? Let's see. Who do we have here
Doing
this evening? Of course, Mitchell Taylor's here. Queen Vampires. Maki, of course, is right in front of your faces.
Booyah.
Just your average Jet, and Alice so far. Welcome.
Ref Alice, a fellow 1-2-3er. Love having Ref Alice in the chat.
Derek Stone's favorite referee as well.
Absolutely. Although he thinks there's this whole family connection and things like that. And
yes, yeah.
I think
I've tried to explain that to him. It's way above his head.
I think and that's hard because he's a big dude. He's a real big dude, and it's way over his head. I think that air is just really thin out there for him. I don't think it's doing him any favors.
We got Ned in chat also. What's up, Ned?
Nylander.
All right. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Mr. Fourth Row 2. I'm sorry, Jared C. I'm sorry. Welcome to another edition of the Dudes and Belts Recharge Post Show here on I almost said it. YouTube. Almost said it.
You almost said the T word.
Almost said the T word. My name is Johnny Deathdrop, as always, and what a charge. What a change of scenery, huh?
Dude, the crowd was off the hook. Nuts. It was loud. It was crazy. Bierstadt Lager House, just bringing the people, bringing the come watch RMP, and what a show that they absolutely saw. There's no wonder, Lucas, why they were absolutely going crazy. Amazing to see.
It was nuts, and you guys have been there, and it was crazy when you're there. But this one seemed to have just a little something extra. I mean, this crowd was unbelievable. Probably one of the best crowds that I've in. Remember, guys, I've been here almost 12 years. One of the greatest crowds I've ever been around. So that should tell you something.
And the action was fast and furious. They had plenty to cheer about, plenty to boo about. We'll get into that in just a few short minutes right here. But, man, what a great episode of Charge we saw tonight.
We also had a few announcements, too, during the course of this episode that we'll talk about later on. We want to thank Queen Vampires for the $2 super chat. Yay, Dudes and Belts. Yay, RMP. Love to hear it.
You're not wrong.
And Yaden himself, it's sunny out here today.
It was sunny here, too, today. It was a beautiful day.
You didn't get the reference, did you?
No.
Oh, okay. That's why.
No. Did I miss one?
Yeah, you missed one. It's okay, though.
All right. I missed that.
You were driving home. You have an excuse.
I was watching the show while I was driving home from training. Yes, I was.
All right. Well, let's not waste any more time. We got a lot to talk about here. You guys ready to talk about episode 342?
Let's go.
All right. How we start off this episode of Charge is with Danger Dean and Manny Lemons.
Oh, never mind. I get it. No, I got the reference. Thank you, Jen. Thank you.
Yeah.
I saw him pick up the glasses, and then I had to make sure I didn't bump into the guy next to me on I-95 going 80 miles an hour. So yeah, Damon's glasses do look better on you, boss man, by far.
So we have Dean and Manny backstage, of course, having a little chit chat, and El Presidente pulls out a match out of his pocket here. And a weird one is that, because we don't typically see these matches too often here, but he wants Manny Lemons to go up against... Actually, no, it was requested by Midnight herself that Manny Lemons and Midnight go one-on-one tonight. What did you guys think about that?
Well, Manny Lemons was an absolute knucklehead to Skylar Slice the last time we saw, blaming everything on her and saying it was... But it was him that grabbed her as the squeeze. And it was Manny Lemons that won her ringside. And then all of a sudden, you know, she just dumps her off like she was yesterday's newspaper and you don't need to read it anymore. Like, Lucas, I thought that was pretty sick before. But to be honest, having Midnight standing up for another one of the Luckets in the division, I was perfectly fine with it. And I was hoping that his lemon was going to get squeezed.
Yeah. Let's face it, Skylar was a scapegoat for Manny. Manny's had some troubles in Rocky Mountain Pro since coming back, 6 months ago or so. Hasn't quite had the results that he's wanted, so he's got to find somebody to blame. And so he's got to blame the women around him. And yeah, Midnight stands up for women. She's a powerful woman, and she comes from an island of powerful women, and she was not going to put up with someone like Manny Lemons, you know, degrading women and trying to blame them for all his problems. So she did the stand-up thing and challenged him to a match. And we'll talk about that match. But it was Midnight had that match in control until a certain someone in chat decided to get involved.
And we'll talk about that later on in our discussions here.
A royal knucklehead got involved.
I wonder if this is going to be an occurrence. We've seen Midnight on Ignition specifically most of the time, and she's the one that everybody's afraid of. But in this case, it looks like Midnight's standing up for not only Skylar Slice, but the Lockett's division. Are we starting to see slightly a change of heart in Midnight now that she's on her own without Bud Bellflower?
It's entirely possible. I mean, this is one situation. This is one unique situation where Midnight felt that she needed to stand up and take a stand against this guy. Manny was not very, there's ways that you can ask somebody or let them know that their services are no longer required. And Manny Lemons took the absolute bottom of the bucket way to do it. So I don't blame Midnight in this situation. We've seen her be an absolute force. We haven't heard her say anything, to be honest. But at this point in time, I think that she is the right person to stand up to him because of how he treated Skylar Slice. So if you're going to open your mouth, you better be prepared to pay the piper. And tonight, Lucas, Midnight decided to be that piper.
She did. And I think it is, you know, she likes competition. I think she has the goal of wanting to dominate the Lockettes division. But at the same time, I think she has respect for the other Lockettes and, you know, wanted to do the right thing. So, yeah, absolutely. This was Manny Lemons kind of running his mouth to the wrong person, and Midnight answered the call.
If he just put a little bit more sugar in the lemonade, this might not have happened. But he had to go full sour grapes last week on Skylar Slice. So he asked for this.
Yeah, it was kind of like McDonald's lemonade compared to that really good lemonade you get at like the state fair. You know that lemonade?
Oh yes, I do. Yeah, Lemonade's my favorite summer drink. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Moving on here, we get into action for the first time this evening. We had Panthro versus Kendrick Laurel with Briscoe Crowd on the outside with Kendrick. And Jason Knoll, surprisingly, with Panthro coming out.
It was a little bit of a shock watching him come out with Panthro. I can understand it, though. Like, Jason's kind of, you know, as we've seen him come up and be this angry animal of a human being, it would make sense for him to partner with another animal, and Panthro kind of fits that category. He's got an impressive win a couple weeks ago. He's had a hard time, but this is maybe some confidence build for Panthro, and maybe just like, I don't know, what do they call it nowadays? Like networking yourself out to different people. But when Kendrick came out, I was very happy to see Briscoe come out with them, so that way, the odds are even all over the place. And Kendrick Laurel starts out good. He starts out big. He's just imposing. He's a big force, tossing Panthro around, going back and forth here. Kendrick ends up getting the Superdome bomb, the full Superdome bomb, picks him up, slams him down. Crowd goes absolutely ballistic. It was so hard to hear the commentators all night on the show, to be honest, because of the action in the ring and all the people that were on the outside. And Kendrick Laurel gets a big win here over Panthro. And then a nice sign of respect at the end, which was basically wasted by Panthro and Jason Knoll. Kendrick came back over and helped Panthro up and raised his hand. And then that's when Panthro and Jason Knoll pounced, and they start the beatdown on Kendrick Laurel. Jason Knoll just taking his liberties. He hasn't gotten his hands on your starting lineup, so he's going to make sure he does it with somebody else. And him and Panthro just really stand there and put the gears to Briscoe and Kendrick, and then they stand tall with their arms raised, even though Kendrick gets the win. But Lucas, we've seen this on Ignition, and now we're seeing it on Charge. We're seeing Jason Knoll be on the absolute warpath towards your starting lineup, and more specifically, Kendrick Laurel. How much further do you think this can go before your starting lineup just draws a line in the sand?
Oh, I think they already have. I think battle lines have already been drawn, and I think that's why you're seeing Jason Knoll seemingly recruit Panthro to kind of help even the odds for him a little bit. I think he realizes that if he's going to take on Kendrick Laurel, try to get some payback for whatever reason that he feels that Kendrick Laurel disrespected him as part of your starting lineup back in the day. I think Jason Knoll realizes that if I go up against Kendrick, Briscoe's probably going to be there, so Panthro can kind of counteract that. And I think you're going to see this come to a full-on collision here in the near future. These are two big angry men that don't like each other anymore. A lot of hurt feelings, a lot of ego involved, and I think you're going to see this blow up here sooner rather than later.
And for your starting lineups purposes, I honestly think that's important that actually happens, because both of the guys in singles competitions have been doing very well, but there's no way that they haven't had one eye on La Isla with those tag team titles. And now with Jason Knoll throwing a monkey wrench in that, progression towards those, they have to deal with this Jason Knoll problem so that your starting lineup can move forward and try to get themselves into that mix for the tag team championships. And Balaam and Echo are fighting champions. I'm sure they would take that match in 2 seconds, but your starting lineup has some more pertinent business right now with Jason Knoll. And apparently now Panthro as well, because at the end of that match, Panthro made a choice to turn around and clothesline Kendrick and start the beatdown. So Panthro's on the list too, I think.
Panthro, I think everyone's realizing that Milestone is right around the corner. They're trying to ramp things up, maybe get a spot on the biggest show of the year. And, Panthro decided, well, maybe if I team up here with Jason Knoll, we get a piece of your starting lineup. Who knows? So this is probably more of a business decision for Panthro. As you know, he's it's probably a slow time of the year for making movies down there in the Caribbean. So
it's hot down there. It's getting real hot down there right now. So we gotta take a break.
Yeah.
All right, I want to give a shout out to Hunter Dillon with the $2.01 super chat. Thanks to RMP for the positivity this week.
Thank you, Hunter. Hunter had a rough week.
Yep.
Bro. Faithful loves you.
Yeah, thank you, Hunter. We're got our hearts with you and positive thoughts for you. So.
All right.
And that's just real quick. I just want to point out, Danger Dean, Presidente Peligro just commented that he's known Jason for 15 some years, gone to battle with him countless times, but he's never seen him like this, right? We've seen some older stuff of Jason Knoll, like on previous rewinds, like way back in the day. This is a different Jason. This is an all adrenaline, all anger, just fueled by rage. Jason Knoll right now at your starting lineup. This has got to come to a head. Kendrick and him are going to have a battle of the ages. You're going to have to reinforce the ropes and the ring, for that matter, when these two guys lock up.
All right. Moving on. We have a law office segment in the making here. That's probably one of the better law office segments in the history of Rocky Mountain Pro.
This was beautiful. This was beautiful.
We have the conversation between Preston and Danger Dean, the one in chat right now, El Presidente himself, having a phone call conversation about Milestone 13. And I'm not going to say exactly what happened. I definitely want Marky and probably Lucas to voice their opinions on Danger Dean's decision here. First off, how do you interrupt a guy in Fortnite? Honestly, he's in the middle of something.
I mean, he can't pause it. Like, they probably caused him to die and everything. He had to go back to the lobby and wait and everything else. It's just more Preston and JK Pop imposing their own will over anybody else's wants and needs at that moment in time. It doesn't matter. But I got to say this, like lately, we've seen some decisions and some tactics, and people have been questioning Danger Dean, where his loyalties lie, and all these other things. I have not personally. I've seen things boil over, and I see a man making decisions in the moment that may not, with hindsight, may not have looked back and said they were the best. However, I think this is going to be one that we're going to look back and we're going to say, okay, he redeemed himself here with this one, because Preston does everything he possibly can to get JK Pop on the Milestone card, and saying that if you really want money, you want to draw money, you have JK Pop versus La Isla again. Now, we know that is a wicked shot in the dark, right, Lucas? They lost that chance. That they're not getting that chance as long as La Isla is the champions. Right.
Chances.
Right. But
they've played that card too many times.
Right. Like, you cannot just keep going to the well with a horrible hand in poker and keep bluffing your way through it. You might win a couple, but eventually people are going to catch on to your game. And I think people are catching on to Preston's game. He's gotten away with a whole bunch of things, but not tonight. Danger Dean announces that, yes, JK Pop should be on the Milestone card, and JK Pop are going to face JK Pop. And this throws Preston for a tizzy, and explain yourself, he's not understanding. No, we are going to get Caden Koyama versus Johnny Casanova in the ring, one-on-one at Milestone. Now, I don't know if you boys remember the last time we saw these two guys square off one-on-one. I believe it was in the Grand Prix last year or earlier this year. They came out and they both had a shopping carts full of weapons in their own.
It wasn't the Grand Prix. It was a it was a Grand Prix last year.
It was last year's tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And there were bolt cutters, there were chanclas, there were chains. Somebody probably had a cheeseburger from McDonald's that the ref didn't find. Like, there was all kinds of shenanigans going on. Whoever refs that match and whoever is in charge of that match is going to have one hell of a time on their hands, because these two guys are experts in the tag team game. But another thing that they're experts, Lucas, and you can attest to this, they are experts in each other's game. So I really feel like this match is going to be better than just brother versus brother. I think that we're going to get more of the anything you can do, I can do better. I think we're going to see Johnny have to resort to some tactics. What's your takeaway out of all this thing, Lucas? Because I know how I feel. Tell the people how you feel.
We've seen over the past, I don't know what, at least since they've lost the titles, maybe even before then, a little bit of conflicts, friction, maybe resentment towards each other. And I think a lot of it has to do with, think about how long they've been teaming up with each other. I mean, they've probably spent more time with each other over these past 4 or 5 years than married couples usually do. I mean, because they are on the road with each other, they travel, they do just about everything together, and I think that finally they're kind of getting sick and tired of each other's crap a little bit, to be honest with you. And I think that it's finally kind of coming a little bit to a head, and I honestly think that this match is the best thing for both of these two. They can get out
way. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Get out. They can get out a little frustration, let it out on each other, and kind of prove to each other which one is the better of the better member. Because I think that's been a little bit of an issue that's kind of been coming to the surface a little bit of doubt from both, like, I'm the better one. No, I'm the better one. I've kind of felt that way, that I think that's mainly coming more from Casanova. I think Casanova's had more insecurities than Caden has, and I think Casanova has a little bit more to prove here than Caden does as well. I think Caden gets a little bit more recognition from wrestling fans, even from us in commentary and us here that doing this show. I think Casanova's going to have a little chip on his shoulder in this matchup.
I think that's what a lot of it's been lately, ever since we've seen this little like crumbling of the paint that is on the wall of JK Pop here. As that slowly started to degrade, we've seen Johnny kind of step out in the front and think that he is JK Pop. When they were wrestling to keep their titles, he many times, the old Freudian slips that we learned about in psychology class in high school, man. They're my belts, keep my belt, my tag team championship. And Caden would check him here and there. I feel like a lot of this has been Johnny's got a chip on his shoulder, and Caden's just getting sick and tired of getting screamed at and yelled at. Caden's out there trying to win the match, trying to get the thing done, and Johnny's out there trying to hog all the glory. So I think there's going to be motivation on both sides to hopefully put things back the way they were, because we may have trounced them through the mud a few times with being knuckleheads, but we also have given them their flowers in the middle of the ring when they're doing their thing. They are tag team experts. They are elite at the thing that they do together. So hopefully, and this, again, pains me to have to say this, but if they can get all of this animosity out and come back as a decent, cohesive unit of a tag team, it puts the RMP tag division immediately right back on notice.
Yeah, and the Rocky Mountain Pro and the tag team division in particular is better when JK Pop is at their best. It makes for better television. It makes for better everything when JK Pop is doing their thing. And so, yeah, to be honest, I would like to see JK Pop kind of squash this, get it out of their system, have a great match at Milestone, and then get back to being a great tag team. And maybe, someday they can get a chance to become tag team champions again, or at least be in that conversation. But we have to. I think it's important that we see this match happen at Milestone.
I agree.
All right. We have a Queen Vampirus gifting one Rocky Mountain Pro membership to Hunter Dillon. I don't know what kind of membership you got, but you got gifted a membership.
Yes, you did.
Thank you,
Thank
Queen.
you, Queen, for being so very generous this evening. Appreciate you.
All right. Here's my question for this upcoming match between Johnny and Caden. Who cheats first?
Oh, Johnny. Johnny. No, and I don't even say that because I think he's the bigger of the two knuckleheads. I think he's going to come out and try to out-wrestle Caden. And I don't think that he can, but I think Caden's going to see it coming, and Caden's going to change up his tactics, and I think he's going to catch Johnny off guard first. I really feel like he's going to catch him off guard first.
What I was thinking is that Caden might beat him to the punch, knowing that Johnny would do it. So Caden might actually do it first, just because he knows Johnny so well.
And I believe this match is 2 out of 3 falls, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Yes.
That is. Yeah, that is. It should be a wrestling clinic. It really should. If these two do what we know they're capable of doing in the ring.
I got a funny feeling it's going to be some form of chicanery, DQ. I don't see these guys worrying about the first two falls. I think they're going to do whatever they can to get to the third fall and then try to out wrestle each other. But by that point, hopefully they see that the two of them, when they go, they can go and they can entertain the people. Hopefully they give us the banger that we're looking for out.
Chonkless, back scratchers, chain, powder, hammer, bolt cutters.
I mean, everything, the mist. I mean, there could be anything. Somebody could get hit with a baseball bat from Coors Field. You never know. Anything with these two guys. Always keep your head on a swivel with JK Pop in the ring, especially if you're fighting JK Pop.
All right. Moving on here. We still got a lot to talk about. We have Damon Ace cutting a promo to Mercury Yaden on their upcoming championship match at Milestone 13. What are your thoughts on this and what happened after the fact?
I think Yaden had every right to smash Damon off the wall, steal his sunglasses, and walk away saying how sunny it was. I was at. Took me a minute, but I remembered. No, Damon comes in and tries to, like, reassess where the obsession is. And then he tries to put it on Yaden, that Yaden interfered with his match with Craig Farrelly. That pissed off Craig Farrelly, too, we saw. But I can't agree with Ace on this one, that Yaden is the more obsessed. Damon has proven time in and time out that this is all about Damon going after Yaden, taking from Yaden, not necessarily even the title. Respect. The title of the best wrestler in RMP. Like, this has all come from Damon Ace. And I think if his mind is making sense of it this way, that makes an even more dangerous Damon Ace, where if he's perverting a truth and believing a truth that he just came up with, that Yaden better be ready for anything. And it's not that he's not. He is. But we've seen Damon go to some lengths, Lucas, that have put people on the shelf. We've seen Damon not care about life, limb, or property whatsoever, just do whatever he wants to do. They are tied 1-1. It's actually kind of 1-1 if you think about it, because of that draw. But at the same point in time, the score has not been settled between these two guys. And a match at Milestone settles the score. What do you think of that, Lucas?
It most definitely settles the score. At least it should, depending on what kind of match it is. We have to have a winner here at Milestone. We have to. So I just hope whatever match it is it's a match where there'll be a sure, clear-cut winner. That there won't be any question about who walks away. That's what I think is in the best interest of Damon Ace, for Mercury Yaden, and all the fans with Rocky Mountain Pro, because I think we've seen this. We've loved the rivalry. We've loved watching these two destroy each other. But I
throwing bombs at each other. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, they I think at this point, I think Damon Ace or Mercury Yaden wouldn't care if the other one's career ended. I think it's gotten to that point. And so I think we need to see an end to this. Hopefully they can both walk away and continue their wrestling careers after this match. But I think it's come to something that it's going to take a match that is going to be brutal like nothing we've ever seen before. I really think it's going to be something like that. Hopefully we'll find out here in the next few weeks before Milestone what that match will be. But yeah, it's going to be it's got to be something that finally decides this once and for all, because I think that's what we need as RMP faithful.
I agree. We've seen these guys go to war many, many times without a clear-cut, decisive winner of who is going to end up on top of this almost blood feud at this point in time, from Damon's perspective anyway. And Yaden keeping his head on straight and just keeping his focus in front of him. But tonight, sending a message. Damon tried to send a verbal message by talking to the camera, and Yaden sent a very physical message, slamming Damon into that loading dock and then stealing his sunglasses, which, by the way, Yaden, they look better on you anyway. A lot better on you.
He does look pretty cool, I'll admit.
They were probably his sunglasses to begin with. Damon probably stole them in the back. That's why Yaden was so pissed.
Oh, jeez. I'm playing with stuff. My bad, guys. All right.
What?
I said I was playing.
Yeah. Crazy.
Not that kind of stuff. Jeez.
I
was writing a question.
You've busted my balls for less than
Yeah,
that.
you've been hanging with Triple I too much. You got to watch the phrasing.
I didn't think it was that bad. It wasn't that specific.
No, it wasn't that egregious. I'll give you that.
I've heard worse on this show. Believe me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I still have yours from when we before we pre-taped that Reignited.
Do you still have that?
I still have that. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet.
You're not doing anything with that. That's what you're doing with that.
Oh.
You're not doing anything with that.
All right. Moving on here. More action to come. We had Sky Horseman, former Ignition champion, going up against your reigning Ignition champion, Zamora, here in one-on-one action.
Man, the fans were hot for Zamora. When he came into that ring, he is large and in charge. He is your Ignition champion. Sky Horseman proven that he can grapple and go with absolutely anybody week in and week out on Rocky Mountain Pro TV. And watching Sky and Zamora going back and forth, this is RMP at its finest right here. Matches like these. We see a fantastic back and forth match. And right when it's kind of looking like Zamora is going to have the upper hand, and we have such a good match, and we see it spoiled. We see it spoiled, Lucas, by a guy that feels as though he's been overlooked and looked past and ignored and all these other things. Gino Rivera imposes himself in this match tonight, comes out and takes out both competitors, takes out with a big splash, takes out Zamora, and then goes up with the crutch, and he takes out Sky Horseman, and he's standing tall at the end of the ring. Ref rules it a no contest here, but we hear more from Gino Rivera in a little bit of a while about how he's sick and tired of getting overlooked and everything like that. Lucas, do you feel like Gino's been overlooked, or do you feel like maybe he's put himself in some situations where he just hasn't come out on top?
Yeah, I think that's more of a better statement to say that he really hasn't put himself into position to be in a title picture. He did that with Nathan Estrada. He didn't really make it work as well as he should have. They could have had a better chance of winning their match at Peak of the Pack had he been willing to work with Nathan a little bit more. And, besides that, he really hasn't racked up the wins. But I can't tell you that he has made it crystal clear that his goal is to win gold here at Rocky Mountain Pro. That is his number one goal. Like I've said this on this show, and I've said it on Ignition. I've said this plenty of times that he has won gold just about everywhere he's been. Yeah, I believe 16 different championships throughout his career, and 16, wow. And I think it's something like 14 different promotions, something like that. But Rocky Mountain Pro gold has eluded him during his career. And he considers Rocky Mountain Pro to be one of the most prestigious promotions that he's ever wrestled at. So for him to have wrestled here and not won gold, I think that's gotten to him a little bit. And he's taking matters into his own hands. If he's not going to be able to have a chance at a match, he's going to go after some big dogs. Like Zamora, the Ignition champion, like a former Ignition champion, Sky Horseman, make a statement and try to get himself into the title picture. And sometimes that strategy works, especially if you make a big enough stink like he did tonight. I mean, wrecking both of them. Let's see if this strategy works to get him where he wants to be. He definitely made a statement tonight. That's for sure.
He was the stink that was in this match, because the Zamoras in chat, our Ignition champions here, he and Sky were having a fantastic match together, and he was the guy that came out and put the stink on it at the end just to kind of get out there and say, hey, look at me. This is how I'm going to get my title shot. he says a lot of people are just getting title shots. That's not how it works in RMP. Your title shots are earned. Look at the Ignition Championship. Zamora had to climb his way all the way to the top of the Drive for 5. And everybody else that gets a title shot has had to climb their way up. He had a tag team title shot. He lost. So it's back to the bottom, but he imposed himself tonight. Z, I know you can hear me, but he tried to make that statement on you, man. Take him out. Take him out.
Yeah, well, and you got to think Sky Hossman also isn't too happy because he ruined an opportunity for him as well. So Sky probably has some issues with Gino as well. This thing could be a little bit messy with more people involved in it.
All right. What we're going to do is we're going to move past the Lord Mitchell Taylor and Manny segment because that's going to coincide with the match itself. Let's hit on Gino and Carson's little package that we saw in between in this episode. Like you guys were talking about, Gino's hunting for that gold, and he's not going to just wait around. He's just going to take it now. I think he made it very clear tonight what his intentions are.
Oh, very much so. That he is out for gold, and he is out to make his name here. And I think the thing is, though, and Zamora's last message will coincide with this, is that I think he's going to piss off a few people when he tries to make his name off of former past champion and the current champion right now, Zamora himself. So that's going to anger a few people. So you might get your shot at gold, but you may end up facing a twice as fierce competitor as you did, like, when you attacked them when they were down or on their backs, things like that. Is this one of those, Lucas, like, I'm kind of getting this sense for Gino anyway. We'll talk about CBD in a minute. Is this one of those things you kind of think, be careful what you wish for?
Oh, absolutely. I think Gino doesn't realize that Zamora is as dangerous of a man that we have in Rocky Mountain Pro right now. He has just been on an absolute tear. Dominant is the word I would use. So yeah, I would be very careful with who you mess with. And you also pissed off Sky Hossman. We know, Sky Hossman's one tough son of a gun.
Don't mess with him. No, don't mess with Sky either. Don't.
Yes. So two tough guys that he's messed with. And this is something, Gino might regret afterwards. We'll see.
Zamora's eyes, 100%. He better really want this beef.
I mean, seriously. You stepped up your weight class, Gino, and you stepped up to the champion right now. Okay. Lights on in the kitchen. The oven's on. It's about to get hot.
And let's go over to Carson Drake. CBD, your new charge champion. Just rub it in all of our faces.
Well, see, here's a guy that talked the trash. And then, albeit not necessarily because of CBD's actions that he won, Remy kind of lost himself. But I think Remy, in that match, lost himself because of the week in and week out antagonizing from CBD. Just messing with them, showing up at commentary tables, always having some snarky garbage comment to say back to Remy, and Remy kind of lost himself. However, we have to accept the fact that he is sitting there with the Charge Championship, and that is his champion. He is the Charge Champion right now, talking a lot of smack back to Remy D. I mean, Lucas, we've seen some people talk smack to Remy D, and then they pay for it. CBD talked smack to Remy D, and then got Remy to lose himself and took the title away from Remy D after 308 days being a champion. If Remy puts his head together and lets this anger go at this young knucklehead that just comes up and yells at everybody how great he is, do you think that CBD could even hang with 100% Remy D, 100% focused, 100% ass-kicking Remy D? And I'm not taking anything away from CBD, but you don't hold the Charge Championship in RMP for over 300 days without being one of the top competitors. Do you see CBD as one of the top competitors out there?
At this point, I haven't seen enough to say that, no. But I think that Carson Drake has pretty much relied more on his mind games, his big mouth. I think he knows exactly what he's doing, and I think he got under the skin of Remy, realized that, hey, this is the best way to go about it, at least at the time being. I know I can win the title if I can get him disqualified. He did it. You got to give him credit. That's smart. Maybe he just hasn't played his card. I know that this kid is uber talented. I know he is. I've seen enough tape of him. I know that he is. Whether or not he can hang with Remy at 100% mental capacity, I don't know. But can Remy get there? Can he clear out all these kind of negative thoughts that he's got running through his head because Carson's put him there? Can he do that? Because I'm seeing Carson getting the best of Remy D mentally, and this is a Remy I haven't seen for quite a while. We've seen Remy on Ignition kind of not being himself. Right. I really just kind of very out of character. So he's going to have to get back to that in order for him to get back the Charge Championship. Plain and simple to me.
All right. Did you really think we were going to get through a Charge episode without seeing the Asylum?
JC had herself like the biggest weapon, the biggest knife I've ever seen. I'm not going anywhere near saying anything bad about somebody that can hold a knife that big over and over again. Look,
there was a message that was sent.
Oh yeah. And the message was unalive time. The message was, it's over. JC telling Lilith it is over. It's the safest way to say this, where I won't have my nightmares haunted. The Asylum has been a force. JC is the absolute epitome of the immovable object, the irresistible force that is. She is the Asylum. She is the Lockheed's champion. Lilith Grimm has that inside of her. She has that demon inside of her. She has to bring that out in order to face this undead, unruly, like walking individual that is JC right now with the Lockheed's championship. And you never just face JC, you also face the entire Asylum. As we saw in the promo here, Lucas, all of them were there. All of them were beside themselves. But JC had the calmness and the focus to announce that at Milestone, over. This is where it ends. This is where Lilith's career ends. And then we find out, Lucas, this is going to be a coffin match.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
So, yeah, a coffin match. Well, we've only, I believe, and I'm not sure if I'm 100% correct on this. I think we've only had 2 coffin matches in the history of Rocky Mountain Pro. I believe Danger Dean was involved. President Dean was involved in one of those. He could tell you about a coffin match, and we have seen this match can get as dangerous as anything, because you've got to beat your opponent so bad that you shove them into a coffin, close the lid, they can't breathe, darkness goes out. Who knows what the hell happens to them? It's as dark and as creepy of a match as you'll ever see. But also I wanted to talk about that. I believe this was the most we've heard JC talk since joining the Asylum. Can you remember her saying this much, having this much to say?
No, I think you're right.
Since joining Salem, I think she said a few things, yeah, but she had a clear message for Lilith Grimm. So, yeah, this escalated quickly, guys. It was always a dangerous situation with Lilith and with the Asylum. We knew that it was getting dangerous, but then all of a sudden now we've got a coffin match.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, wow's all I can say. This is going to be gruesome for sure.
Definitely escalated very, very quickly, and a match like this is the absolute embodiment of the end. And JC speaks of the end of Lilith Grimm, and this is her embodiment of what she means. And this could only be the end of one of them.
Now,
they're not going to get one of them is going to end up in.
Now, here's a question for you guys. We saw last week, I guess you could say, the merger of Lilith Grimm between the Demon and the Warhammer. This week, we see the challenge from JC and the Asylum. Guys, who do you think has the advantage in this type of match between these two competitors?
In my personal opinion, I don't think there is an advantage here. I think they're both going to be as unpredictable as they possibly can to each other. Lilith doesn't know a lot about JC, hasn't been in there a lot with her, and JC is very unfamiliar with the Demon, Lilith Grimm. We've seen the Demon over the last couple of years, but mostly JC has known the Warhammer, Lilith Grimm. And the Warhammer was doing really, really well for a long time. She had a rough start when she changed and became but then she quickly established herself and quickly started moving forward. And it took something like the entire Asylum to try to knock that confidence out of her. Now that she is like an amalgam of both, I honestly, I don't think that either one has an advantage. Lilith Grimm hasn't been this duality that she is now for a long time. JC isn't familiar with either one. I think they're just both going to go out there and just try to knock each other's head off. What do you think, Lucas?
Yeah, I think it's a push 'em. I really do. I think you've got two individuals that are dangerous wrestling, but even more dangerous when it just comes to trying to injure and maybe decapitate, rip off body parts, all kinds of different things these two ladies are capable of. So, yeah, I don't really see either one having a clear-cut advantage over the other in this type of matchup, because it's not going to be a pure wrestling match, even though they're both capable of that at times.
There'll be some.
But... maybe, but I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see whatever it takes out of both of them, because you've got to drag their limp carcass and throw it in the coffin. That's how you're going to win that match. So, whatever it takes.
That's all. It's going to be whatever it takes to win a coffin match. This isn't a regular 1, 2, 3. Whatever it takes.
All right. Moving on here. More action this evening. We finally have Midnight versus Manny Lemons. Now, we saw Manny Lemons in the back before this match happened talking to Lord Mitchell Taylor. Well, it turns out during the course of this match... Yeah. You starting to get what I'm throwing down here?
A little bit, yeah. I'm catching what you're throwing, yeah.
Let me know what you guys thought of Midnight specifically in this match. And obviously, we know the outcome, unfortunately, because of our lordship.
Your lordship. He's not my lordship.
Manny Lemons picks up the win.
Not my king.
Picks up the win in this match. What do you guys think about this? And honestly, what do you think about this type of match going forward? What are your opinions on it?
I think Midnight looked really good once she finally got a hold of herself. Manny started out very quick with some kicks and some strikes. And it took a minute for Midnight to get her bearings and get going. But Midnight, and we've said it, and we'll say it again, is not your average Buckette. She stands toe-to-toe with almost any of the guys in the locker room. And Midnight requested this. Let's not forget that. Midnight requested this match and is going toe-to-toe with Manny Lemons. And once she does gain an advantage, she really doesn't let it go. Nice, beautiful overhead suplex, laying in the shots, and just being the dominant force in the match once she got her feet under her. Then we saw Lord Mitchell Taylor come out, and instantly the interaction we see earlier with Lemons and with Lord Mitchell Taylor kind of makes a little bit more sense, although Mitchell Taylor tried to say something different here in the chat earlier. I don't know if I believe him or not. I don't know what's going on with that guy. But one thing I do know is that he was a distraction and a deciding force in this match. Midnight ends up getting rolled up, and Manny gets the win here. And we see a gigantic high five between the two of them. They were both happy that Midnight lost this match. I don't know if this is the birth of a team or if this was just two guys that had common cause. I don't know what Midnight did to irritate Lord Mitchell Taylor. I have no idea. We know what Manny Lemons did to piss off Midnight. But I think Midnight, once she finally got her bearings here, Lucas, I think she looked really, really good and took Manny by surprise so much of the match because of how powerful and how agile she really is.
Oh, yeah. She is... If you're not familiar with Midnight, if you hadn't seen her in person, you haven't been in the ring, you don't realize just what kind of athlete and what kind of a specimen she is. She's, stands over 6 foot tall and has raw power, and also is extremely gifted in the ring. We see it. And was not intimidated by Manny at all. In fact, I think it was almost the exact opposite. I think when Manny was starting to feel the wrath of Midnight a little bit, I think Manny started to be a little bit intimidated himself. And I think I think that both the Lord Mitchell Taylor and Manny Lemons, I don't think they have an appreciation for what the Lockettes are capable of. I think that this is just me being a kind of somewhat of a conspiracy theorist, but I think Manny is trying to use Lord Mitchell Taylor to kind of get himself into a situation. Maybe I don't know exactly what he's got in mind, but it sounds to me kind of like he's trying to use Lord Mitchell Taylor to get in a better spot here at Rocky Mountain Pro. Kind of knew that Lord Mitchell Taylor maybe has an issue with the women maybe stealing the spotlight. That's what it kind of seemed like to me. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what it seems like. And I think Manny's trying to play Lord Mitchell Taylor. I know his lordship isn't going to admit that. He's probably not going to like that, but that's what Manny's trying to do. So I would suspect Lord Mitchell Taylor is smarter than that, and we'll have something else to say about it.
Well, I can tell you right now, he doesn't appreciate Manny knocking over his chess pieces. That's for sure.
Well, then why'd you go out and help him? Should have helped Midnight. That would have been funnier.
But he doesn't like Midnight.
And when you're playing chess by yourself, you can't play chess by yourself, you cheater. I bet you're undefeated too, aren't you?
Yeah, he's probably going to say there's nobody more worthy of an opponent than himself. So
1 month from now, Marky Pins versus Lord Mitchell Taylor in a game of chess. Let's go.
Less than a month. It's like 21 days or something like that.
That's fine.
What you're gonna play Lord Mitchell Taylor in a game of chess? I wasn't aware of this.
I would absolutely play him in a game of chess. Yes, I would. I mean, if he has nobody else to play with, that he has to cheat to beat himself.
That was not a high five.
Oh, okay. There was a high four. You had your thumbs in and you went like that.
No,
had the pinky out.
Pinky out.
Oh, you had the pinky. It was a high one. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Get out.
Moving on. What is
not my king?
What is happening here between Bruce Waynes and Atiba? Let me know. What is happening?
I thought this was well deserved. No. See, I thought this was well deserved.
I thought this was over and done with.
You can't treat the final boss, and I understand Boss lost that match, and he had to endure 30 days of servitude to Atiba.
Less than that.
I get it.
Less than that.
Well,
he did have to win a match to be free.
And he did.
Yes, he did.
And he won the match, and he is free now. But I don't blame Boss for holding back a little bit of aggression for all the garbage that Atiba put him through. They're still friends. And look, Johnny, you and I have been friends for years. Friends fight. Sometimes somebody does something so dumb, you have to fight your bud. But afterwards, you let it go.
Tell me about it.
Right. When the air clears eventually these things subside. But I honestly think that Boss still had some residual, like, bossiness on the inside that really,
I'm sorry,
that just pissed him off. I believe it. I think that shot tonight that he gave to Atiba was warranted. Now, the fact that he shook his hand and said, "Yeah, bro, we cool," and then he hit him, I might not have done it like that. But, Boss, it looked like he still had some anger. What is your take on it, Lucas? Am I off, or do you have a different view on it?
I got a little bit different view, to be honest with you. Here's what I think. I think Atiba, let's face it, Atiba didn't have any good intentions going to Boss. If you guys buy that, then I have some oceanfront property in Arizona. Atiba was
an ocean in Arizona?
Well, if you believe so, I've got some property to sell you. What I'm trying to say is that we know that Atiba had nothing good with that interaction. He had no good intentions. Boss knew that, and Boss wasn't going to allow Atiba to take any kind of liberties or try to do any kind of, weaselly things, which we know Atiba is capable of. And, he's like, you know what? No, I'm going to be the one that's going to take that before you do, because we know that Atiba will try to manipulate Bruce Wayne's if he can. We know that he'll try to do whatever he can to have the best of Bruce Wayne's, and it's Bruce Wayne's turn to finally get the best of Atiba, and I'm all for it.
I agree.
All right. Now we got chat going again because of Lord Mitchell Taylor.
Well, Mitchell Taylor just said that he was playing virtually with Bobby Fischer.
I thought you were going after the comment of, I don't appreciate any locket that isn't making me food.
Yeah, right. And then I said, if he says that again, Midnight's going to make him a nice big shit sandwich.
I don't think it's just going to be Midnight.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
I like
sure
to see
Lewis
him
Grimm would have
exactly.
something for him, and
JC,
yeah.
Noel.
Oh yeah,
Lola,
Skylar.
There's going to be a whole defecated sandwich plate just for you, sir.
we could also find Malia Hosaka.
I was
she
just
could be
gonna
around
say
somewhere.
that. Yeah.
Kick him in the face. That'd be good.
Yeah, don't piss her off.
No.
All right.
Hell of a wrestler. Terrible referee, but good wrestler.
Finally, after 2 weeks, we finally get the main event that we've been waiting for. Curtis Cole versus Sin Bodhi for that number one contendership.
When you get Sin Bodhi in there, you can expect nothing. Nothing about what you thought you would get with anybody else will happen in a match with Sin Bodhi, because I don't think Sin Bodhi even has really patent off. You don't know what you're going to get. And if you're Curtis Cole, one of your biggest advantages is always your mind game, your tactics, you're talking smack into the microphone, and you're always waving your ass at people, and you're getting people off of their game. It is very, very hard to get, nigh impossible, if anything, to get Sin Bodhi off of his game. Look, after the fight that we saw when Charge went off the air last week, and we saw some of that footage that nobody could hold. They had the whole locker room, every official in the Wimmer trying to separate these guys, and they still couldn't. The fact that they were willing to wait another week to even have this match was impressive. But Curtis Cole decides to go to the bag of tricks and really kind of lays the first egg in the match, as far as I'm concerned. You know, you're out there with a guy like Sin, and you know the years of experience that you're facing. And even though you're Curtis Cole, you have all these years XP, you're always willing to go to that other place. And Sin Bodhi's doing well in the match, and Curtis Cole decides to go right at the clowns. And we see a shot, a low blow from Curtis Cole, and that's how he ends up taking an advantage through the better part of this match. So you can't out-wrestle him, so then you immediately go to the down below kind of area. and really kind of instigate that. And that's what you got to do to take the advantage. And that's what it takes to get the advantage over Sin Bodhi. So he does it. Well, Sin gets to a point where he's just not dealing with that anymore either. And after getting tossed around for a few minutes by Curtis Cole, who did look good once he finally got the advantage, Bodhi decides to give back what he has gotten. And he gives Curtis Cole a claw to the craw and returns the favor.
Hey. The fans were chanting it the entire time. Twist his.
I hate that. I'm sorry, dude. I hate the grab his dick and twist it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'm sorry, I hate it. I'm not gonna say it on the show. No, a claw to the cross sounds way better. It's a little more original too. And he gets him up and over. Big body slam, right? With his hand still attached. Gets him up for the big sky high, big power bomb. The match is about to be over. And then all the lights hit. Place goes dark, Lucas. Nobody can see anything. We hear KD. We hear people that there's murmurings, there's mumblings. The crowd's trying to figure out. There's like this really huge like buzz in the room of people trying to figure out what's going on. When the lights come back up, it was about 10 seconds. We see Curtis Cole out cold, Sin Bodhi on top, and Ref Spicer counts the 1, 2, 3. And Curtis Cole loses to Sin Bodhi in the match. We don't know what happened. At least watching the screen, we don't. Lucas, is there any insight from the out there area in Rocky Mountain Pro? Like, you've been there, you talked to the guy. Is there any insight? Do we think it was Drake? Was it that evil bastard? Was it somebody else? What's the word?
Wait, we assume it's Drake. I mean, I was literally, 10 feet from the entrance away. I was in the back kind of doing some inside investigating on some other stuff. And yeah, when the lights went out, I was looking around. I hid for a little bit because
understandable.
That David Drake is a very sensitive spot for me.
You've been through some shit with that guy.
Yeah.
You've been
through. So I ducked and covered for a little bit, but then once the lights came back on, and once we kind of saw what was happening, I was looking around. No one said they saw David Drake, but we know what this guy is capable of. We know that there's been some supernatural crap that's happened, and that we can't put anything past him. And so you got to assume that he was probably the one behind this. It leads to some interesting questions, though, Maki, because what would be the reasoning behind it? Because we know that Sin Bodhi had won the number one contender match at Peak of the Pack, that four corners matchup. So he was going to be the number one contender for the Rocky Mountain Pro Champion. We also know that Curtis Cole took issue with that. Sin Bodhi last week basically was putting his number one contendership on the line in this matchup. So
yes,
yeah. So if this was indeed David Drake, then why would he help Sin Bodhi win? Does he want Sin Bodhi? Does he want that challenge?
It's weird. It's Drake's MO, but it's weird that Sin would have been the one that wasn't destroyed. Like, you could tell something happened to Sin as well. Like, he wasn't in his right mind either. He was hurting. At the same time, he didn't just pop up and take the win and everything like that. Like, he wasn't as bad off as Curtis Cole was. But something happened to him, too. The lights are off. We don't know. It is Drake's MO. More question.
Without Drake.
Right. But why attack both? Why not knock both out? Why not throw them both outside so they both get counted out? Why not, if it's Sin Bodhi, you don't want to face it, why not knock out Sin Bodhi and throw Curtis Cole on top? I don't know. There's a lot of questions about what happened when the lights came up.
Some tells me I think Drake wanted Sin.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing, Johnny. I really was.
Yeah.
Maybe Drake's getting bored, Maki. Who knows? Who knows what with this guy? Maybe he wants the most craziest guy that he can get his hands on.
Oh, and Sin Bodhi's one of those dudes.
Yeah. So it doesn't really get much crazier than Sin Bodhi. So this is maybe what David Drake wants in his sick mind. I don't know.
We don't know officially because we didn't see anything. We're just going off of assumption here, folks.
Yeah, that's all we could do at this point.
Yep.
And honestly, Lucas, to your point about saying maybe Drake was born, look, we've seen Drake physically, like in his appearance and stuff, look like he's just devolving, right? Like he's not taking care of himself. He's not shaving. He's not getting his, clean. Look, he's probably not even showering. His hair looks like he hasn't showered in a month. He looks like he's having upstairs a really messed up time in his life right now. It's translating into success inside the wrestling ring. But personally, I bet the dude is an absolute mess when he doesn't have tights and boots on. So I could see him maybe playing games and messing around with people, because that was what was wrapping around in my head. Why would you want Sin Bodhi? Why wouldn't you want somebody you match up better than that isn't as nuts as you are, like Curtis Cole? Curtis Cole isn't nuts. He's just an asshole. Sin Bodhi is nuts. To me, it's a no-brainer one way or the other, but I don't know. I still need more. I still have more questions than answers.
Plus, I would have loved to see Curtis Cole piss his pants with
that
David
would
Drake.
have been glorious.
Yes. So
Feel bad for the person washing the canvas after that one, but I'd have paid $1 for that.
Just $8?
I got a lot of dollars. I'd have started with one.
Okay.
I'd have paid some dollars.
that dancing job's been paying off well for Maki. He's got a lot of dollars.
Hey, keep it quiet. Don't do it. I show up with the ref shirt. They like it.
I know. I've heard those cat calls.
All right.
It's my. I gotta say. It's
All
my side
right.
hustle.
We don't need to know your side hustle. You can keep that to yourself, sir.
Perfect. Very good. Well done.
All right.
Yeah, Mr. OnlyFans.
Not yet. Not
Nope.
yet. So that's going to conclude this episode of Charged. Final thoughts on this episode before we start wrapping everything up.
I think there's still some questions leading into Milestone. This is the first of the new series of tapings that we see. Next week is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to keep progressing down the trail that leads us to Milestone in less than a month right now.
We got some answers, though.
We got a couple. We know JC and Lilith, and we know Damon and Yaden. We know Caden versus Johnny, which I am going to be standing in the crowd at Bierstadt, singing the Star Spangled Banner and jumping around doing jumping jacks.
It's at the Wimmer. What are you doing?
At the Wimmer, I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
I'll be lighting off fireworks and just be so happy that these two are destroyed. I hope it goes to a time limit draw on the third fall. I hope they're in the ring destroying each other for like an hour, and there's still no winner at the end. They can't even fight each other.
Yeah, that would be glorious. This tonight, I'm glad that we did get some answers. We've got a little bit better picture of what Milestone is going to be, but yet we still got a lot of questions that still need to be answered. And I think right now the biggest one is what is next on the plate of David Drake, and I think that right now is the biggest question to be answered. What is it? Sin Bodhi? Is that what he wants? I think we'll find out more this next couple weeks.
Well, there's only about 3 more episodes left before the big event, so hopefully more questions will be answered in the coming weeks. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, Milestone 13 is June 1st. It is going to be on a Thursday. Not a Friday, not a Saturday, on a Thursday. So make sure you get your tickets if you're going to be in the Denver area this weekend. Well, that weekend. That's going to be another busy weekend.
Yes, it is.
So we have 4 matches just about confirmed. I don't think the JC versus Lilith Coffin match is quite confirmed yet until we get a response from Lilith. I'm assuming she's going to say yes, just based off of the history of this whole entire story between Lilith and the Asylum. I don't see her not accepting this challenge. We also have the NRW championship match between Yane and Damon. That's been brewing for months. As of right now, we have Sin Bodhi versus David Drake for your RMP championship at Milestone. And then, of course, we also heard tonight Johnny Casanova will go up against Caden Koyama in 2 out of 3 falls at Milestone as well. I'm sure Marky's, and I think everybody on the Dudes is extremely excited about that one.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. Cover that. Also, we're going to start pushing this now all the way up until Milestone 13. If you are not going to be in the Denver area and you want to watch Milestone 13, you need to become an RMP pay-per-view member, which is $9.99 a month. Every month, well, it's a recurring monthly payment of $9.99. So once you get that membership, you will officially have every pay-per-view that RMP holds on this YouTube channel for the entire year, or for as long as you hold on to that membership. So the only way you're going to watch, as of right now, is the only way you're going to watch Milestone 13 if you're not going to be in the Denver area. So make sure you member up to that $9.99. Not only do you get the pay-per-view, but you also get the Tier 1 membership of the emotes and the badge and the membership-only live stream, which, by the way, that's coming up in a couple weeks. May 21st is going to be our next membership-only live stream, live chat, technically. We had to make a couple changes for that. We had some dropouts. We got a new guy.
There's a new guy.
There's a new guy that's going to take the spot in a couple weeks. I'm not going to announce that until Thursday, so if you want to know ahead of time, nope, because I just found out today and I'm not ready for it. So,
damn it. All right, fine. I'll be here Thursday anyway. We can talk about it then.
So if you guys want a heads up on who the next RMP talent that's going to be joining us on this live stream for members only, tune in on Thursday for Dudes and Belts Reignited, and you will find out exactly why it is going to be a special one.
I'm in.
You in?
Sounds good.
Yeah?
I'm in.
Yeah. Yep, I'm excited.
All right. Other than that, folks, we're going to wrap up the show tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We greatly appreciate everybody in the RMP faithful, as always. Again, make sure you member up before Milestone 13 so you don't miss all of the action that's about to happen. Oh, and a reminder, I should have said this before. Ignition on June 1st. That is obviously the same day as Milestone 13. There is still going to be an ignition, as we found out on Sunday when Yaden popped on for the rewind. The Colorado Cup. Let's not forget about this one. The Colorado Cup will happen during that ignition before Milestone.
Colorado Cup put almost this entire year into motion with David Drake winning last year and becoming the champion.
Correct.
So this is a pivotal event.
Let's just hope whoever wins this one doesn't become a psycho nut job.
Yeah.
True. All right. Other than that, we'll talk about that more as we get closer, obviously. Maybe we'll find out a few contestants. Who knows? But it's going to be a big night, big event, and it's going to lead up to a huge weekend for RMP, and we'll talk more about that probably the week before or the week of Milestone. You'll find out all that stuff because there's going to be another long weekend like these guys had last weekend during that time. So we'll give you all the info as we get them. And Thursday night, we will announce the RMP talent for the membership-only live stream, as well as cover everything that happened on Ignition this upcoming Thursday. For myself, Johnny Deathdrop, Marky Pins, thank you for filling in for Coastal. He should be back here next week as well. And Lucas Bradwell, the voice of Ignition and RMP's Encyclopedia. We will see you guys on Thursday for another episode of the Dudes and Belts Reignited Post Show. As always, folks, stay safe, stay classy, and we'll see you.